That's right.
I can always do another one. Continue now. We'll probably do another one for 3 days.
Ja, wel. Daarom zijn we zo prettig samen.
They built a shell around the house. Protected. They built It feels so different to what you do normally in your daily life.
Welkom aan boord van de Amsterdamse Cirkellijn. Tijdens deze vaart laat de schipper u een aantal hoogtepunten van het historische en het moderne Amsterdam zien. Onderweg zal ik, Harry Slinger, daar wat over vertellen. Mocht u nog vragen hebben, stel ze rustig aan de kapitein. Veel plezier vandaag.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, the church on the left is the Western Church. And we got 4 churches named into all the wind directions we have. This is the Western Church, and this one actually has the grave of some famous people inside, amongst which is Rembrandt, the painter. Actually, you won't find his grave when you go into the church, and that is because Rembrandt died as a poor man. And actually, he spent the last years of his life living with his son Titus. And there used to be a canal where the bridge is now that we're crossing. But a bit further down this street, this former canal, was the place where Titus was living, the son of Rembrandt, and he took care of his father.
Entre los canales de Prinsengracht y Keizergracht. Las fachadas de estos edificios.
Actually, one of the big 3 that surround our historic center, the oldest part of Amsterdam, is actually where the red light district is. And that is formed along the Dam Square in the heart of the city. And the city started by building this dam in the river Amstel. That is also where the name Amsterdam comes from. So the river Amstel together with the dam make Amsterdam nowadays. So this little historic center was sufficient to house everybody until the start of the 17th century. In 1602, the people here started this United Eastern Indian Sailing Company. That became a sort of overnight success. So from the first trip on to the Far East and Indonesia, they were making a profit, and they sailed in spices mainly. And especially pepper was quite unknown here. And it became so popular that it became worth more than gold. They say in the old days, for a bucket full of pepper, you could buy a house on the canals here.
El Museo de la Casa Flotante. Este museo es perfecto por si alguna vez te preguntaste cómo sería vivir en una casa flotante. Ya que este museo le ofrece más información al respecto, puede visitar.
Onze stad heeft zo'n 2500 woonboten. De eerste woonboten waren oorspronkelijk transportschepen. In de Tweede Wereldoorlog kwamen deze schippers naar Amsterdam om werk te zoeken. En omdat ze geen huis hadden, gingen ze op hun boot wonen. Dat werd toegestaan en was gratis. Precies dat zorgde ervoor dat heel veel hippies in de jaren 60 met schepen naar Amsterdam toe kwamen om goedkoop te wonen. En in de jaren 70 werd daar een stop op gezet. En de bewoonbare boten kregen een vergunning en werden aangesloten op water, gas, elektriciteit.
Scheepvaart in de stad. U vaart dan ook in een volledig elektrisch aangedreven schip.
En los próximos años, la ciudad de Ámsterdam quiere que todos los transportes sean libres de emisiones en medida de lo posible, incluido el transporte marítimo en la ciudad. Por eso, navegarás en un barco totalmente eléctrico.
Sir, would you mind? Oh, sorry. I'll come see you. Yeah, you can stand over here or something. Why? We're trying to get some. The people actually dug them out 3 meters deep. And they say the first meter is soft soil from the swamp area that Amsterdam is in, being in the delta of the river Amstel. And then the second meter is actually bicycles from the people here. And that has to do with the fact that the city takes out 10 and even more than 10,000 bicycles a year from the canals. Also made clear that they were earning a lot of money by the way their home looked, because everybody knew they were paying tax according to some features of their house. One of them was the width of the house. The wider the house, the more tax they paid. And also another tax was the amount of steps in the staircase in front of your door. So I'll slow down the boat and then
Famous land.
just open this. Let me see. Ja, is dat een Van Dam of komt er nog wat achteraan? Door de Amstel. Heel fijn, dankjewel, kom eraan. Ja. On the right side, World of Astoria. Your hotel. Ja, ik weet niet, de sloep die kaart op de Utrechtse straat afkomt. Ik dacht, ik ga even eerst met de Circle Line. These people are as I told you about the way that people pay taxes here, then on the left side you'll find a Nonsense home with red banners that is open to the public. That is the home of a very wealthy merchant with a double staircase, lots of windows, and a wine house.
Beautiful house. The roof is from
Huge tall windows.
So sometimes when you're in the States, you can usually see the windows of I think anyone would enjoy watching it and tasting it. Heineken's a famous one. It's Dutch. Two best Dutch. Amsterdam is the name of the river. It's Dutch. Two best Dutch. Amsterdam is the name of the river. Anakin is just the name of the family.
So this is the River Amstel, right? And in front of us this iconic skinny bridge. Legend says that this bridge is so tight that in the early one you had to grab each other by the shoulder to pass each other. And then this urban legend formed around this bridge that says that when you kiss your loved one on the deck of this bridge, or underneath the bridge, your love will last forever. So that comes free with this tour.
Antes de que comience a pegar el canto de Solearte, este era un anexo del Hermitage de San Petersburgo. Pero el estallido de la guerra en Ucrania por parte de Rusia en 2022 rompió todo el alianza, el museo cambió de nombre y entabló nuevas colaboraciones con el Centro Pómpido y la British Canal, entre otros.
Graaf y Kaisergraaf. Las fachadas de estos edificios han sido renovadas conservando su diseño original. Hoy en día, escondido detrás de ornamentos.
City started building this dam in the River Amstel, which is also where the name. This little historic center was sufficient to house everybody until the start of the 17th century. In 1602, the people here started this United Eastern Indian Sailing Company that became a sort of overnight success. So from the first trip on to the Amsterdam, they were making a profit and they sailed in business and especially pepper. Druk met de glijds over de keizer naar de heren. So, ladies and gentlemen, imagine parking your car here on a rainy day. Then it's quite exciting to leave the car and not end up in the canal. And that is because the city always makes sure that the driver's seat is next to the water. That's quite important because as a driver you want to see where the water starts and the train ends. So 2 years ago in spring, a minivan with 9 people aboard actually drove into the water, and that was because, as police later stated, people were saved actually by a diver that appeared to be living there. But the city came with a statement that said that the minivan was English. So the driver's seat was on the other side of the car. So when you're from England, better leave your car in a parking somewhere and be sure that you're okay. Every year the city still fishes out about 6 guys, usually guys, from the water, and it has to do with the fact that when people go out, and especially men, when they have a drink or too many, then they start peeing in the canals. That's also the reason why you find so many public toilets on the case, especially. And actually, the city fishes some out every year, and usually they have their pants on their knees and they are wearing a Manchester United t-shirt. Strange enough. Because everybody knew they were paying tax according to some features of their house. One of them was the width of the house. The wider the house, the more tax they paid. And also another tax was about the steps, the staircase in front of your home. So you see a lot of merchants' homes with a double staircase, so they could show the neighbors they had a lot of money. And also they paid tax according to the amount of windows they had. So when you find a merchant's home with big windows and little panes made inside big one, then that is done also to impress the neighbors that they were so filthy rich. And I was told that those merchants in those days made about 700,000 euro a month. Yeah, what? That is what I say. Just a little bit more like it. This is actually the golden band in the canal. So, because of the rich people living here. Yeah, I was interrupting the sound system, but I'll let it continue.
Opletten.
It will be on that side, huh? Yeah. And that is because we are saved by 2 locks. One at the North Sea coast and one on the other side on the lake, on the IJsselmeer side. That used to be the Southern Sea in the old days. So only 2 locks to keep us safe. So you can actually book the little cabin on the lock there. That is rented out on Airbnb. So now on the left side you find the dancing houses, a block of 6. And they're called the dancing houses because there are a lot of discotheques in the back of it. Ja, die gaat er rond voor de dansing houses.
Is steeds beter gestaan. Nu zijn de mensen vervangen en de gevels gerenoveerd, zodat ze de Zuiderkerk werd tussen 1603 en 1611 gebouwd door de beroemde stadsbouwmeester Hendrik Kerken, die hier ook begraven ligt. Deze kerk is vooral beroemd vanwege het schilderij.
Yeah.
That's the reason why we find so Pelham Theatre, connected to the city hall that is in use today on the corner. Imagine that Palace on Dam Square was the city hall in the 17th century, turned into a palace by Napoleon, the French emperor. They actually occupied our country for about 50 years. When they retracted after Napoleon's Waterloo, the city offered this palace on Dam Square back to the people, but the people wouldn't have it anymore. And that was because they said it was too expensive to maintain. But now we do with the one on the corner here, very ugly one, only historic fact, actually two historic facts. The first same-sex marriage was actually made official here in 2001. And in actually already 1992 my first marriage was made official there. It was actually more like an armed robbery than a marriage.
Uso de turba. Estas casas, de finales del siglo XVII hace yéndose poco a poco y cada vez están más torcidas. Ahora se han sustituido los cimientos y se han renovado las fachadas para que puedan bailar alegremente durante los siglos venideros.
De Zuiderkerk werd tussen 1603 en
También está enterrado aquí. Esta iglesia es especialmente famosa por el cuadro de Claude Monet. Desde el siglo XVI
De meeste gevestigden zich hier in de Joodse buurt van Amsterdam. Dit is de Joodse buurt. De meeste Amsterdamse Joden wonen in deze wijk. Slechts 25% van de Amsterdamse Joden heeft een Holocaust-overleving. Het laat ons
Rica historia y hoy lugar de artículos de segunda.
So, as you know, in Amsterdam also the official possibility of some of them explain it, but he says it is the and those ferries are free. So when you feel like it, there are things to do then. The country was built, they say, God created earth, but Dutch created all.
Ja, browser en dat is mama.
But then in those days Amsterdam was called the beautiful lady with the bad breath. And I hope you enjoyed it, and I wish you a very nice stay in our city. And don't forget your belongings when you leave the boat.